in and making sure that Hyde was dying immediately in the team fights might be pretty impactful this game. However, they do go for the Death Prophet instead.
Yeah, it's a still a stable sort of mid here for Motivate.Trust if they want. They could maybe flex it as a support, but with the Oracle on hand, I don't think you really have the room to have a DP support. Kind of lack control in that sense. So you hold your mid well, you have a good silence to play with, and you've got good push coming out with the DP. Sort of fixes those early issues for Motivate.Trust where their early game was just really wonky. They didn't find the objectives as fast as they'd want. For their side, uh, DP just kind of always does with Exorcism. You just need to play around that timing, and we'll see if Fearless can get that done. The Tusk here for Boom, of course, Hyde, we saw him do spectacularly well on that hero last time around. You do have the Tusk Mars lane. That can be equally potent as the Snap Mars lane, so you're having great dual lanes on hand regardless. You've got a lot of ways to really apply that pressure onto Jackie, and for Motivate.Trust, they do have some just having the Oracle gives you really great defensive supports to play with in that sense, but it can still be a bit overwhelming. Now, you do have the spin on your Jug to spin out of the arena downline to avoid a lot of the damage in lane, but the initial cooldown for Blade Fury is pretty long, so Jackie's going to have to watch when he commits that spell. And for Boom's part, they are focusing in on additional supports. We are lacking our Lionak hero, so our Q here, so we'll see they opt for in the pause 4 here and see what they do kind of drag in. I think what options are left? Like the big one is say Elder Titan, which we haven't seen Leonak play in quite a while. It's a hero they love, but you don't really have setup for it here, so not sure if they'd really want to opt for that.
Find out. Well, they were kind of looking more for the Q hero though, right? Leonak's usually just going to probably play the POS 5 Oracle here, so I think we're looking for a POS 4 Q hero, if I'm not incorrect in saying so. Last game around, he played the Mirana, but that's been banned out. Boom Esports, they get rid of the Tiny just in case. You do have a minute and 30 to really think about this. You just want some kind of POS 4 that's willing to fight. I mean, you've got a Death Prophet there that obviously is going to be quite strong early on, and there you go. They pick up the Earth Spirit. I think that is quite a nice pick going into this draft of Boom. Gives you another silence, another stun, another slow. It's a very nice hero to have when you just want to team fight a lot. And on Boom Esports, we'll see what they do pick up for their safe lane carry. We're just missing Dreamer Cell's hero. I was going to recommend the Ursa again, but it was banned out by Motivate. What else do you want into that Jug?
I kind of want something that helps you with the arena as well, enjoys that control with the Dream Coil on your puck. Maybe something a bit quicker here to meet the pace of everyone else. You could go farm heavy if you want to, but in a farming war, it just feels like Motivate.Trust wants that. If you want to play the farmer against Jackie, Jackie's confident enough that he will actually keep up despite a bad lane. So I think something with a quicker pace would be nice. I'd still say Gyro, even though, again, no one's really picking it nowadays. I think with Arena, with Dream Coil, it's pretty nice. You can still play the farm game if you want. We don't tend to see Dreamosell play that too often, though. Probably not the option there. Maybe a Slark if you're worried about the Jug here. Slark versus Jug tends to be better for Slark. You've got the Doom to sap away some stacks as well if you want to go that route. The hold is pretty decent as well, at least with a Pounce. So they could go for that direct core matchup at the least if they want to, but they're thinking about it as well. I think they did try to pull off the CK last time. They go with a PL, so it's Illusions once more. Trying to run down. You could still play this a bit quick. It's not really here that maximizes the Arena plus Dream Coil, but your control for Motivate.Trust isn't the best to keep a PL locked in. So there's a lot of leeway here for Dreamosell to go in and out, especially once he has his Manta style up. It's going to be tricky for Motivate.Trust to lock him in, and the Jug doesn't enjoy this. Omni Slash is very hard to pull against a PL with all the illusions up and with the potential to just kind of doppel away. So Dreamosell is going to have a lot of space out there, and it is, it can be quick. It's a bit slower for the most part. Like we tend to see Yasha Diffusal, then Manta, or Manta into the Diffusal, or sometimes the SNY, and you can start to play from there. But before that point, sitting back, you're farming. There's more that the supports and the other two cores of Boom have to do to buy that space for Dream Assault this game.
It's one of those things, because with the Doom, you want to try and focus down the puck with the Doom if you can, but now you've got Dream Assault there, and you've got to kind of make the decision as to what you want. I like the fact that Motivate do have so many forms of silence, though. Like, you're going to have to be worried about the DP silence, and then, of course, Q with his silence is going to be quite annoying. I guess I'll ask you the hard question, John, because we are about to get into game number 2, but who did come out with the better draft, sir?
I'm actually leaning towards Boom here. I think the PL still has a lot of leeway to get in and out. The direct matchup of PL versus Jug feels a lot better for the PL, and you don't have the best ways to deal with that illusion spam on Motivate.Trust side. You don't have something like the Ember. You don't have even something like a Grimstroke would have been really nice in the support to handle that PL, or an LC. So Dreamcell has a lot of leeway here to become that big win condition for his team. He might need the BKB because of those silences you mentioned. The Manta alone might be enough, as long as he knows how to kind of weave in and out, dodge a lot of those spells. There's a lot of mechanical skill that has to come out with his doppelganger use, but I think Dream Assault showed us time and time again that he is at that skill level. He's very fast with the reflexes. So I think as long as he manages to execute properly, it's Motivate.Trust that's going to have a bit of a rough time in holding him in. The one thing that Motivate.Trust has nice is their spikes are a bit faster, and beyond Exorcism and Doom, well, they have some pretty long cooldowns to play with, but the activity from Q can set up for them early. So we have to see this Earth Spirit line up for mid, maybe get some early rotations off, force his team to follow him around, and try to bring some pacing out towards Boom. You don't want Boom to have that same start this time around, especially with the fact that if it comes into late game, Primo Cell is going to scale a lot better if they do drop off at that point. So you do want to kind of bring it back towards Boom here for Motivate.Trust.
Okay. I was kind of leaning the other way. I actually felt like Motivate had the stronger draft here, but I suppose it just can go either way. So both drafts are very good at what they do. Let's just wait and see what these teams can get up to. Of course, last game, there was a lot of errors being made, especially by Boom, I would argue. And that's the thing, right? Like, if you can avoid making those mistakes, then either draft can work extremely well, but it's the moment one of these teams make a big mistake that it starts to feel like the other team is going to start taking over. Well, we'll see if they can kind of rectify the issues that were happening during Game 1, especially for Boom Esports. Because now they do go into that bot boundary rune spot. And Motivate, they're not going to even try to fight over this. They're going to try and go for the top one instead. Boom. Well, they are going to be able to take it. That was a 3-for-1. No, Leonak took it, in fact. And now Jackie is going to sneak up from the backside. A nice shots to block the way, but FBZ, he's been slowed up to spin. It is going to do enough. Just barely, and there's Masteros' crying face once again. I do like that, by the way, that kind of tissue to the eye. Very, very nice.
It's a lovely emotion. Motivate.Trust off to a pretty good start here. Jackie getting first blood does give him a lot of gold. And this lane combo coming out from Motivate is actually pretty potent. You can sort of play with Fortune's End plus spin, hold heroes down, FBZ, level 1, of course, going for the God's Rebuke to clear out the creep wave. Means that he doesn't have a way to shove Jackie off of him. He does fully commit. And they are going to try to stabilize the lane. Hyde's just going to go for the pull to get his levels up. And Leonak going to try to make it a bit annoying at the least, but should hold steady. Once FBC hits level 3, you feel a lot nicer on this Mars. And once you hit level 2 on Hyde, he has a little bit more utility on hand as well. He was forced to go for level 1 shards. Couldn't really play with tag team. And that's kind of rough. Like, he was forced to try to cut off that path. So it is leading to him having to be greedier with the lane to get that level 2 up.
A nice little snipe from FBZ as well. He ended up getting the courier of Jackie. And that did have the initial Wraith ban for Jackie. That's going to be denied off for another about minute. Leonak is forced to TP back towards that tier 1 tower. Of course, we'll have a look at the other lanes as well. Mid lane, Fearless is going to be up against Makoto. And you know what? Never mind that for a second, because bot lane is where the kill happens. Dreamer Cell is able to pick one up there onto Q. Because Masaros on the Doom not really able to help out at the moment, so if Q does get caught with his pants down, he is going to get screwed over here by Boom.
Yeah, it's going to be something that they have to watch out for. And we kind of saw Masaros in this lane last time where he kind of overcommits on dive. We're going to have to see if he tones it back a bit. You can see Q is also trying to contest these pulls. Needs a level ton. That Earth Spirit, they do have some aggression to play with here, especially if you find a decent creep for Masaros. But the focus with the Devourer really is mainly in farm. So we don't see it prioritized for that control, at least until you hit more levels to get higher level creeps. And that does mean Dream Assault can just focus on the farm. He's not being zoned out too much. The PL is really slippery. You don't really want to fully commit. Kezcute is really able to play around with his range advantage as well. It's a dual melee lane. Kezcute's leveraging his attack advantage, and the burst damage he does have with Scatter Blast is pretty scary, especially if he does commit for the Scatter Blast build over the Shredder, and because he does ignore the Shredder, that should be what builds up here. And they need to find a way to kind of stop this, because Dream Assault, it's pretty much a free farm lane for him.
And it is. Was the mid lane, which was what I was trying to talk about earlier on. Fearless up against Mikoto. Is favoring Mikoto right now. In fact, it's favoring him quite a lot. It's about 7 CS ahead of Fearless on the DP, and I suppose the Puck is still a very strong lane hero, especially in terms of CS. Fearless might have to just catch up a little bit here. There's not really much you can do to force Mikoto away though, right? Because you can always just kind of orb away if he does get a nice siphon off, or you could just commit the phase shift. Either way works.
Yeah, it's a bit tough for the DP here. You're not bullying out a melee hero. You can still clear out the wave nice with your Crypt Swarm, but you're not leveraging your Spirit Siphon. That's what sustains the DP in lane, makes her win matchups. And in this kind of situation, giving Mikado this good start also causes issues. Like, the added mobility Mikado has means that he can snipe out these runes a lot faster. So he does manage to grab his own water rune along with the bounty. Fearless doing the same thing. But once it gets down to the power rune timings, the DP is not going to feel as good there, especially if Mikado has luck on his side and he can kind of figure out where it ends up. So Fearless just going to have to hold on. Once you're level 6, you can maybe make a play or at least look for a side lane to shove out. But for now, it's just always going to be a bit better for that Puck.
That it is. We'll try to siphon away at Mikoto every time that orb's on cooldown, but Mikoto, he does take a fair bit of damage. Not really enough to scare him off, especially with the amount of runes that spawn up these days in the mid lane. Just feels like you're never really afraid to take a bit of damage and just know that you're going to have a full bottle up very soon anyway. Every other lane pretty calm here, though as I say that, FBZ, he was being spun on. Snowball is going to save the day from Hyde. It did seem like Jackie was going to go for the dive past the tier 1 tower, but the Snowball does save the day once again.
You know, very patient from Hyde. He understands this. They're having to play a bit more defensive. They're not really lining up shots with the spear. They're looking for opportunities for the tag team. And the threat of Leonak just breaking off that initiation's a bit too strong. Jackie he's farming well. It's not as well as the PL. I think that's pretty good news for Boom. But this is still relatively free for the Jug. It's not as much pressure as you'd expect from the Mars. And I think overall, you're kind of trading here. I would say Flamer's having a really decent time, and it's just down to what kind of itemization we see coming through from Jackie. He is opting for the Battle Fury, so it's back to that slower jog. We tend to see a lot of Maelstroms out nowadays, but Battle Fury for Jackie, that means, again, he's just going to sit back and farm, as he tends to do for Motivate.Trust, and become that big win condition.
And he does. Q trying to secure the power rune down at that pot spot, but fortunately for him, it does spawn up top, and that'll be a haste rune now for Mikoto. Does have the coil up as well, so we can expect a rotation from him very soon, and there you go. He's going to go right up top to see if he can snipe Jackie on the Jug. They may have to just set on to Leonak, but that being said, Jackie, he committed the spin recently, so he won't be able to spin out of the coil, and now Mikoto, he does commit. They have the healing ward. The coil is snapped. They do get him. Leonak, he's going to die. They don't quite get the big target that they wanted, but they get something for their trouble. Now Mikoto, he can just kind of walk his way back down towards the mid lane. However, While that was happening, it looks like Fearless, he did make the rotation over on the Death Prophet. He has not gotten anything out of it, though.
Yeah, he just kind of walked in. They didn't have the opportunity yet to commit, but they might go for that push. They've got the Exorcism up. They'll just look for the tower, and maybe if they're lucky, manage to get the Missile. However, Boom is ready.
They are ready to defend, that's for sure, but they're going for the dive in. Snowball is down, Fearless going to take it, but he's just fine. It's now Hyde. He's going to get siphoned up with the Exorcism. He is certainly going to fall, and Dreamer Cell, he gets out. He gets the TP off. Masteros unable to get the stomp off in time. Now MTG, the best they can ask for is to take that bottom tier 1 tower, but while that was happening, Boom Esports, they are forcing in the mid tier 1. And that's one way to force Motivate back, is to apply that mid tier 1 pressure. But it looks like Motivate, they are not falling for it. Fearless, he went all the way with that tier 1. He doesn't get the kill on the tower yet. Gets a substantial amount of damage, and eventually Makoto, he had to rotate to try and defend this. Oh, Masteros. He's been caught out. They should have enough damage in the end here for Masteros. He's going to try and run. Oh, Orc misses. It won't matter though. They'll get the kill. It would have been a little bit awkward had Hyde not been there, but well, they had the tusk just in case.
Yeah, it does work out. Pretty nice pick off to get. It's off lane once again, dropping with. We've seen Masteros do this on his Doom, taking a bunch of deaths in lane. Doesn't mind too much. For Motivate.Trust, they're playing as 3, they're playing as 4. They're buying space out for Jackie, and that's all that matters. Because Jackie's going for that greedy Battle Fury. He needs a lot of space. He's solo laning against the Mars. FBZ is still slightly behind the Chug, so it's still free for Jackie. And this is everything Motivate.Trust could want. Sure, you're kind of trading away with Dreamocell, but I think they're just really confident in how Jackie's going to scale here, and you can't fault them. Jackie always delivers the goods when it comes down to it.
Oh, Fearless. He's going to be alright. They aren't going to try and make the dive in on the DP. It'd just be a little bit too challenging of a kill to go for.
What a bounty!
Everyone else just going back to farming. No real rush for either team yet. You still want more XP. You want more levels and gold. I've got to say, Boom are having just a slightly better time. Dreamer Soul is just currently barely out farming Jackie. In fact, never mind. Jackie now takes over. So it's a very even game. Very slight net worth lead here for Motivate.Trust. It's going to be a lot based around the cooldowns right now of both teams and what they can actually expend. Speaking of FBZ, he does have Arena off cooldown right now, and he might find Leonak. Little hiding spot there from the Oracle, but FBZ, he almost smells him right now. Ying's out. This is a bit of a trap here for the Mars. FBZ, Omni going to come out. He is rooted up. Can he survive? No. The spear, it was just barely mistimed. Jackie will finish off the kill.
It's a bit awkward for FBZ, who's standing right under a ward. Didn't expect that one, and Jackie getting freebie means that the Battle Fury is that much closer. You're feeling good here in Motivate.Trust. Dreamocell is still saving up here for his defusal. Once you have that up, you can start to show up, force some issues, but without some stat padding, the PL is very squishy. So you're still going to want to build a farm into perhaps the Manta SNY, and that's when you really kick off, which means both cores will still farm up. And I think for Motivate.Trust, they're the ones with a little bit of pressure to get these cooldowns used. Exorcisms on standby, so is the Doom on Masteros. The Midas for Masteros is very close, though. So they might just want to give him the time to farm that up and start using it before, potentially throwing his body away for these fights. And, neither side has really managed to make progress yet on the tier 1s at the 11-minute mark. The bot is still looking very unhealthy for Boom. It's not gone yet. So they can still keep playing around this lane, keep shoving it out. You do have Mikado with the Invis. They might have to go for the fight down bot.
Gonna try. Coil is up, and they are gonna stack up for it. They've got 2 on that Coil with the kisses of Fearless. He just disappears. They are gonna go on to Q, but the Fate's Edict does save him from a lot of that magic damage. So Leonak at least able to save one of them. Fortunately for Fearless, he just got bursted way too fast.
It's tough. Like, they couldn't manage to use that Edict on the puck, which would have been nice. And you can see Boom every single time. They just smoke up. They want to keep the aggression up. They
Oh.
still have the arena deployed, but FPZ is gone still.
Dreamer Soul was doomed up. They did commit the doom, but they were unable to get the kill, and now Makoto, has he gone too far? The roll's in, silence does connect, Q. Won't be long enough with the silence to force the orb to not be able to really jaunt away with the puck. So boom, they back off. Wait out their cooldowns again. But it looks like Motivate, they don't want to do that. They'll go into Kezcute with the Fortune's End, but where's your backup damage? It's not quite there yet. Fearless, he's making his way over. Roll again does land onto Kezcute, right back into the loving arms of the DP. However, in the meantime, Jackie went down to the bot lane. Kezcute is still alive, by the way. He cookies over the cliff. And they're not going to be able to kill him.
There is little hope for Dire's middle tower.
Jackie went down to an arena.
It's a really big kill. They hold off the Chug. He's still trying to finish the beef here. Still one part off. So it doesn't feel too bad, but that does mean PL overtakes. And the movement for Motivate.Trust isn't lining up. Trying to commit for supports. They can't find the kills. They're still sitting on Exorcism despite having Pop Doom. They need to get a push off. Now that courier kill is big though. They do manage to stall off the defusal for Dreamo Cell, and that does mean he's not going to show up. His farm is going to feel a bit more awkward for the next 2 minutes while waiting for that respawn. Should hold him back while the Battle Fury for Jack is being built up. But I think we need to see Motivate.Trust really stick together. They need to get a push going. The fact that these tier 1s are standing at 12 minutes in with a DP, it's not really good news. You want to get your push off, or at least find a team fight with this DP while it's strong.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Hyde. See a lot here. Leonak gets a ward down. We'll notice Hyde's around though. Shards are out. They'll get the snowball, but there's heaps of heroes to try and help out. Fearless, he's going to get started on Makoto, but FBZ shows up now. A 3-man siphon's going on. Can they burst down Fearless? Not quite, apparently, as Kezcute. He's going to be the one targeted, and he is going to drop as now Masaros is in, but he can't get the Doom off in time. Makoto is going to be able to jaunt his way out, and Masaros, he could still be in danger, but he will barely survive. They do get both supports on the side of Boom Esports. They would have loved to get that Doom onto Makoto, but he barely got the silence off in time to stop the animation from Masaros. But Motivate.Trust, knowing the supports are down, are going to be able to get this mid-tier 1.
They can get started. They pop the EXO up. This is what they need to do. Even Jackie showing up for this push does have the Omni Slash ready. So Boom, they might have to give this one out. They're not in position to really defend. That's going to open up the map for Motivate.Trust. Gives jungle access for Jackie, and they're actually smoked up. Still got Doom ready. There's a blink on Masaros. They could try to, bait that they're pulling back and kind of wrap around and find someone.
They're going to try. I believe they still either want Makoto or Dreamer Cell. Dreamer Cell, he's backed off that top lane. Understanding something is awry here. Oh, he's going back to farm the large camp, though. Masaros, smoke about to wear off. Dreamer Cell still just backing. Looks like nothing is going to come out of this for Motivate, but now Boom have smoked up. To the mid lane they go. No real target showing at the moment. They saw Q for a second, and Hyde might still be able to make the jump. Z not going to drop the arena in the tree line. They still do see Q, but they don't really want to go after him. They might want to go after Fearless, and they do. The spear does land, but the Fate's Edict is again going to block away a lot of that damage, and the False Promise comes in just in the nick of time. Now they can fight. Masaros is in. He's got Hyde on the tusk. There should be at least one dead here on the side of Boom Esports. They try to back off and disengage. Coil's going to be there. Makoto going to try and turn here with the kisses out. They do get the Oracle, but the Doom is there. Makoto, he's been caught. He will drop. It's just not worth it for the side of Boom. There's now even FBZ could be in danger. Roll doesn't land, but he's got the vision for the rest of MTG to make their way over. FBZ, he is caught, and he is most certainly just going to die here. Z will try to run, but they have the damage. It's going to be another 3 down, I believe it was, for Boom Esports. Quite unfortunate as well for Makoto to go back in like that. maybe just kind of not realizing the Doom had not been expended. Does end up giving his own life away.
And those are really big mistakes from Boom. Motivate.Trust gets a 2k lead out of that fight. They managed to get really big usage of their spells, and with the Doom down but EXO up, they could look for another push elsewhere or a big team fight with how big and tanky Fearless is. They need to take care of Leonak first. They can't jump in onto Fearless and realize they need to kill the Oracle after the fact. They commit the arena. They have to jump the backline somehow. They do have the mobility under puck. They've got the blink for FEZ way down the line. So for now, all of that responsibility lies in Mikoto, and they need to get that info out. If you do find the Oracle first, you'll suddenly find that Fearless is a lot easier to manage, and you're going to have an easier time killing off even the Earth Spirit. But as long as Leonak's alive, you don't have enough burst damage to deal with it. So, to find that backline, Mikoto's very close to his own blink. Matt is going to help in finding and reaching all the way back. They're still getting some decent farm here on Dreamosol. You know, Yasha's up, going for the SNY here. So he is going to be able to tank up front, have some stat resist, have some good strength on hand to help his illusions out as well. Motivate.Trust though. I mean, Midas up in Masteros. He's number 1 in that word. He's got the Devourer running. The Battle of Fury's up in Jackie. As this game slows down, Boom feels a lot less safe.
They're caught. It's going to be Hyde. Hyde, he does have help coming in. Arena going to drop. They've got Masteros with the spear around. Fearless going to show up as well. Coil going to lock them down with the false promise. Leonak again going to save the day on the Oracles. FBZ now. He's going to be in danger. Fearless, he'll get the Yules off. And he is a sitting duck as he does drop, and now they find another. Kescute going to go down to boot. Jackie, he will just not stop with that emote. Makes me want to kind of spam myself in these pumps, John, I'll tell you. Might have to invest in the support pack.
Yeah, it's a real good one. And Motivate.Trust, they're executing really well, real smooth. Boom! Keep forcing these ganks out on supports they can't kill. Because Leonak's there. Can't kill Masaros, he's really tanky. He has nearly 2k HP. So there's enough time to respond. Although, saying that, Masaros...
Lane has been caught. A nice stun out, but it won't matter. They do at least get something for their trouble here, Boom, but Motivate immediately just starting to run over. See if they can start another fight. But I think when Exorcism is down, they're probably going to have to take it easy. I don't think they can really do much about Mikoto in that mid lane at the moment. Unless Q does roll in and find the silence and the stun, but highly doubtful that's going to be able to happen. And yeah, I'm going to have to wait out this pause to see how this all pans out. But I suppose, Boom, they do have 3 heroes behind Mikoto, so they could try to bait a fight. It doesn't seem like it would be too bad.
Yeah, they could try. They don't have Arena, they don't have Dream Coil, so their setup for the kisses isn't the smoothest. And that does mean their damage output and control is a bit lacking, but the same thing goes for Motivate. There's no Exo to worry about. Doom's dead, so there's no Doom as well. It's fairly hard to land that roll and the pull, as you mentioned, on the Earth Spirit, and also the Silence and Fearless, so you could still try. It's a bit awkward for both sides. I think Boom's part, again, every single time they try this, as long as Leonak's alive, he doesn't even need a False Promise. Just a Fate's Edict takes out the puck damage, takes out most of the Mars damage, and most of the Snapfire damage as well. Makes it super awkward for Boom because they lack the burst. So they have to stop jumping in like that. They need to find Leonak somehow. It's really looking hard because Leonak's positioning's way too good. He's always all the way back, but still within the vicinity of his course at the right time, and manages to save. And you know, all this effort Boom's trying and being aggressive, it's paying off for Motivate.Trust. Motivate.Trust aren't picking a lot of these fights. They're not the ones smoking up. They're not the ones running in for the most part, except maybe that last fight. They just get jumped, and they just so happen to be able to TP and save. So Boom has to reconsider that approach very hard, because if they keep feeding kills off like this, that lead Motivate.Trust already has is just going to grow wider.
Very true.
Oh, Mike, I'm looking at Dreamosol. Guess what build this is? It's the
Oh,
Octarine.
no, not this build-up. Octarine and Shan's build-up, I believe, is what we're
Oh, yeah.
about to see from
Oh, yeah.
Dreamer Cell. On the brighter side, John, he did go for a few damage items. You know, he can hit people.
Yeah,
He's
it's
got
not a rush. It's not like what Pale Horse used to do.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, this is an Arkosh gaming specialty, this build-up. But,
And I think
yeah,
Speed as well, right? Speed tried it once.
he did.
He did try it.
He learned very
It doesn't
fast.
have the best track record. Oh yes, yes he did. Then he tried PL Midas, and then he also learned from that. I think. NA. It's a different place, NA.
Oh, you gotta love it. It's a bit of fun. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. Like, the Octarine core, if you do go for the shards, it is pretty broken in some sense. Like, it's very hard to push high ground into it, because you're constantly just getting hit by lances. The illusions that spawn, they end up obviously just draining your mana over and over again. And that can be quite annoying, I must admit. We'll see if it pays off, though. We'll see if Dreamer Soul does indeed go all the way for this Octarine core. Like, even if he doesn't want the shards, Octarine core can still be pretty darn nice in the PL. Just having those lower cooldowns on all your spells can be quite effective. We'll see what he does.
Really is, especially once you hit 25 with the Doppelganger cooldown plus the 25% reduction in Octarine. It's up for a lot more than I think would be fair. And you could imagine stuff like Spell Prism at that point when 25 is up, even just a quickening charm casually on top. It's a lot of spell spam. It also makes it awkward for your Jug, because again, when it comes down to Omni Slash versus PL, you have to control the PL. And if you can just doppel off, well, your Omni Slash is not hitting anything, or if there's a million illusions coming through from the Spirit Lance, also makes it awkward. So this is kind of one way to stop the Jug with a Battle Fury from being too much. And I think it's just down to that core matchup. Jug versus PL is really awkward. Like, in some ways, the Jug, yep, he can cleave through with Battle Fury on the illusions. All right. But his state for doing that is either the Swift or Omni Slash. And Swift Slash is really short. Omni Slash is a really long cooldown. You have to find a way to stun lock or at least control up main peel. But the one thing with this build up on Dreamusal is he doesn't have a way of saving himself. Right? He has no Manta to get at least a purge off from those silences, a dispel off from those. So he's sort of vulnerable. If they do manage to get the roll on and get this follow up, he is a sitting duck, and I think that's something Motivate.Trust can abuse. Dreamusal's got to be really on point with how he jukes and drives in this game.
No, I certainly agree with that. He may be relying on the status resist of the S and Y that he gets, but you can't solely rely on that. I mean, it's 25%, it's pretty nice, but there is a lot of disables on the side of Motivate. So if he does get caught with one of those silences, it could be all over for Dreamer Cell. As you can see by the loot bed odds as well, the odds are relatively close right now, but the Motivate were the ones that were still favored in this game, and I suppose with a 3k net worth lead and 8-1, they are looking pretty good. Dota Plus, yeah, it agrees as well, 63%.
It's pretty much lining up for Motivate.Trust. They're getting to that point with their farm. SNY is almost done here on Jackie. He's going to be really nice up front. He's got a lot of ways to itemize afterwards as well. He could look for the Ags next. I'd say a Maelstrom into Mjolnir is super important for the Jug, just to help to deal with the illusions. It sounds like overkill, but a Battle Fury already on top. But it helps with your farm as well. It just accelerates so much more. It helps your Omni Slash and Swift Slash with the attack speed. So let's see what Jackie opts for after that usual S and Y. Boom. They could look to make a play. The arena is back up. They need more farm on FBZ here. He's lagging so far behind. If you look at the net worth chart, he's barely above Q and way behind Mikado. So your Mars needs some of that farm priority for the Yules and Blink. Without the Blink up, it makes it so much harder to jump in, catch the back line, and kill off Leonak. Because if you don't, we've been saying this for the past entire game now, but if you don't kill that Oracle, you're not killing anyone.
Nope. And Oracle can just do so much work here for Motivate.Trust. You'd love to see Leonak. The fact that he's gone to max the Fate's Edict this game, obviously a very powerful kind of spell to have, as Looks like Makoto is having some spikes going on here, some lag issues. I'm going to have to wait this out a little bit and hopefully everything's alright side of Boom Esports. But going back to it, I do like the fact that Leonak, he's not bothering for the Max Fortune's End, which is really, it's pointless in some sense. It's just a lower cooldown and a bit more damage. You'd rather have the Fate's Edict so you can basically use it for the max duration arena. That way, no damage is dealt with the Spear Arena, and you could just go from there. Because even with the Kisses as well, we've seen him just use it instead of the False Promise, and the Kiss damage will just do nothing.
Yeah. It makes it awkward for what Boom wants to do. Their entire fight is built around magic damage at this point in the game. So it's awkward. Like, you look at Motivate.Trust, none of them even have fast BKBs yet. Fearless is saving up for one. But even without it, it doesn't feel like they need it. Q is going for one as well. So they know what they have to do. As long as they live through that initial magical burst, Boom has nothing yet to follow up. PL's not quite at that point where he can just be a complete terror against some of these softer targets. And it's just awkward. I'm looking at Monstrous as well. He's shaking up his build. BKB rush. So literally every hero but Jackie and Leonak are going for BKBs. And he's going into the Radiance afterwards. So he's going to have a ton of presence in the middle of these fights. And they're struggling to kill him off. So the Radiance Burn's always going to be a consistent factor coming out onto Boom. And that is something the PL hates. That slight mischance can boost your EHP. Technically, it boosts everyone's EHP up by a good amount. And, you know, the PL doesn't necessarily want to go for stuff like MKB. He could maybe build for the Bloodtorn, but that's a very, very big item for down the line. So it'll take a while. If they are annoyed by that miss, Dream Salt's just going to have to deal with it for now.
Yeah. Both these teams have great voice lines in their support packs, I've got to say. Very annoying ones. It's hard to differentiate between the two. Like, Boom Esports, they have the question. I don't know how to say it, but it's quite funny. And then you've got the Motivate ones where they're just kind of taunting you with every voice line. And of course, you've got Neon Esports as well, John, who have the best voice line pack. Because, you know, I'm in it. So definitely buy their one. But, you know, if you were looking for the second or third best, probably Boom or Motivate.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good.
They're up there. I just can't get enough of the Mau Kamana boss.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one I'm actually considering buying it just because I want to spam that over and over again in the SCA
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's so good. I like the Neon one mainly because of Johnny Wells' line actually. And they just keep spamming it in every game. And it has that emote of Johnny Well and his head just trolling around. It just fits the voice line so well. It's like that's exactly what he was doing while he was saying that. Yep, that's him.
Well, moving on, John. We are on pause now. Luckily for Boom as well, because they only had about a minute pause time left before they had to unpause. So that would have been very bad. Not going to have that happen though, which is very good news. It's Fearless. He's going to come in, get Yules up. BZ literally just got that Yules off the courier as Fearless was coming in. Still needs that blink up though for sure. It's like Boom, they're probably just going to take their time and keep the farm up. I mean, they realize it's not going to be the greatest idea to go fighting into Motivate right now. They just don't have that solid initiation at the moment. So they'll spend a bit more time just farming up. Motivate, however, they're going to smoke up.
They have no clue about this one as well, though.
They do not. Phase shift going to save for Makoto. Leonak, he tried. Meanwhile, Marina was down. Azeroth is going to run right through it with the BKB. He's just chasing down FBZ. He really wants this Master to be caught out, and he will be able to get him. Do they have the damage, though? Because Dreamersoft, he's going to go for the fight. Q's in trouble. He'll get the Magnetize off, and that might be enough to kill off the Mars, or maybe not. It looks like he's going to be fine to run out of there. Instead, they'll go after Hyde, and they'll trade supports. Kodo thinking about going back in, but you'll leave it at that. For Motivate, they did commit the Exorcism, and that's going to be on cooldown for another 2 minutes. Which may mean Boom Esports, they could try to go for some objectives, they could try for a team fight, could even try for the Roshan if they want. Looks like they wanted to see if they could pick off Fearless, but they do miss out on the opportunity.
Dire's top tower is
Yeah,
under
I wouldn't say it's too bad. You do manage to, at least for Motivate.Trust, and stall out for the BKB on Fearless now. So it's going to be easier for him to take these fights. With the EXO down, it's easier for Boom to access that rush, as you mentioned, and they go straight in. It's pretty quick. Hold on.
And Makoto, he's trying to get himself out of here. Coil is going to be committed. He is really trying his best to avoid getting doomed by Masaros. He has another orb away. Fearless is going to TP to the T3 tower. The blink away now from Makoto. The space creation. The voice lines as well on top. But they get the silence off now. Stun way off the mark from Masaros. Q though, he gets the silence off, and there's your doom out. They've had enough.
Oh, boy.
But the problem is,
Yet.
Roshan was happening.
It was a ton of space. They needed that to happen from the puck because the rush was super slow. From Boom, their lineup's just not really built to take that real quick. It's a trade-off, right? You lose your puck. You did manage to get the Doom wasted. Felt a bit unnecessary coming from Masaros, but it is what it is. And Boom now have that second life up on Dreamosel. He does have the... He's got the Aether Lens up, so... just waiting for that Octarine with the Ag Shard. I'm getting severe flashbacks to Pale Horse now, and well, let's see if Dreamosol makes Pale Horse proud. You do find a tier 2 top. The bot's being shoved in by Motivate.Trust. Again, still no extra system, so it's a bit slower, and they have to be a bit cautious of the defense coming through from Boom.
We'll chase down Jackie. Dreamosol, he knows he's strong right now, so he'll go for the mana drain on the Jug, and Omni is going to pounce through. He needs to get out, but now he can go back in. Arena going to block Jackie in. He just can't move, but Dreamosol, he's going to lose the Aegis. They will get the Jug kill. In the meantime, they also found out Leonak. So a pretty good set of events happening here for Boom Esports. The worst that happens to them is they lose the Aegis, but it was a very valuable kill to get for that Aegis.
And it's definitely worthwhile. It'll still allow you to take some objectives here if you want to commit. Like they're lining up for mid. They've got triangle control on the high ground. And without the Doom up and running yet, they can't quite go in, especially without the Oracle as well. No saving spells here. They run the risk of just being bursted down now by the line of Boom.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
Big scan out on Masaros. They know exactly where he is.
Is under attack.
Hyde, gonna get the vision. Masaros not gonna be happy with himself right now, looking for a blink away. Does go the way of Hyde. They'll go for the team fight instead. Snowball is out, back in onto Fearless, but there's the exorcism being committed now. Hyde, he's gonna try and run, force staff away. Instead, they'll have to commit onto Kescue. While all this is happening, Masaros, he's dropping very low in terms of HP. He'll BKB up and try to run, as now Leonak will give him the false promise. Dreamosel, he's still gonna be chased down. The exorcism is gonna do quite a bit of damage if they can find him, but they've got the wrong one. Fearless, he'll BKB up, back in onto the Mars, he'll go after FBZ instead. Arena's gonna be dropped defensively. Fearless, he's not gonna even try to run through. He will just stand his ground, but now they'll go for the counter initiation as Makoto. He does get Leonak. They go for more. Jackie, he's shown up now, but they don't have many spells to throw out. You haven't even got the Omni. TG, they are going to have to back off.
And it's looking pretty scary. Motivate.Trust's response is kind of not very clean. They're coming in one by one. Their spell usage isn't on point. And Boom's able to really abuse that. They're starting to find the kills on Leonak, so they're able to reach the back line as they need to. The saves aren't amounting to as much as you'd expect on Motivate, and perhaps it's their turn to kind of slow down and wait for the Ags on Jackie. That is going to help him at least have some presence with a swift slash up, and it'll also help you deal with some of those illusions as well. So it's fairly close for Jackie, about 1,000 gold off. Once you have that up, the Chug is going to feel a lot better in this game. For the side of Boom, well, there's just more time to build into Dreamosel's spikes. Appointedly, he's going for Octarine Heart. So, oh no, he already has the plants. All right, Agshard's up, only lacking about 1,000 gold himself for his full Octarine. And that's when memes become real, Mike. When Dreamosel manages to bounce it around. Not going to be fun for Motivate.Trust losing their mana constantly with that lower cooldown on top of it.
Oh, I imagine it won't be.
They're going to have to be really cautious and, you know, have to get the initiation first for any of that silliness can come true. Remember, Dreamo Cell with his build-up has nothing defensive, so if you do manage to find that initiation on the PL somehow, he is kind of a sitting duck, and you just need to gap close. But there it is. We're here. Octarine, Agshard, PL, 27 minutes in. Hillhorse would be proud.
Very nice. It does seem like a lot of the pressure is onto Masaros, right? To get that Doom off. Again, it's between Makoto and Dreamer's Soul that he needs to decide who to get the Doom off on. Seems like for now, Masaros has been very focused in on Makoto. But you're at that point now where allowing Dreamer's Soul to run around and continue to spam out Lances is going to be a pretty darn big issue. At least for Motivate. They are going to have to maybe decide, do we go after Dreamer's Soul instead? You still have plenty of silences though. It goes back to what you were just saying, which is he doesn't have anything defensive. He can't purge off silences. But it hasn't really been much of a problem for him. He hasn't died once yet on this peel.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Reyna can be used up. Fearless, he does pop his BKB.
Radiant's bottom tower has
Nice quick reactions.
Dire's middle tower.
Neither side really getting anything. Oh, it looks like Masaros does pick up his Radiance now. You've got that going for you, I suppose.
Yeah, the missed chance is going to make it a bit hellish for Dream Soul. Again, it's not something PLs enjoy because they don't necessarily build for anything to counteract evasion. So pretty good for Masaros. Can help them burn through some of those illusions as well while they're still relatively soft. Helps you figure out which the real PL is with the added damage flying through on it. So we'll see if they can maximize that and Motivate.Trust side. They still hold the 3k lead. They're still sort of in control of the game, but if you drop a couple of these kills again to Boom, then they can start to do a lot more of this PL. They can start to do a lot more in these team fights as well. Mikado's saving up for his Ags, and once that's up, the BKBs on Motivate.Trust isn't going to be enough to save them from the onslaught Boom wants to bring out here.
Lane, FBZ, he's been caught. Don't commit the Doom immediately to try and get rid of this Mars with the Glimmer Cape. Might just save the day for FBZ as there's no real backup. And now Hyde. Snowball off onto Masaros. Leonak going to try and keep him healthy. Meanwhile, Makoto is not going to be able to catch out Leonak in time, but he will get him eventually. One down for Motivate. It's Fearless. He just needs to back. Arena is down though. They've got Jackie on the junk. They can't really help him either. He's going to try and survive, but there's no chance in hell. Masaros has gone to boot, and now they can really chase them down. Everyone from Motivate, they've all left. The thing is, they don't have buybacks. So Boom Esports should easily be able to take at least one T2 tower. They could also go high ground.
Yep, there's no pressure here. They know Doom's down for a fairly long time. Exo's the only spell up along with Omni Slash, but the Omni Slash of Jackie just doesn't feel amazing yet. They can just force the issue. Arena's going to be back up in half a minute. That's around a respawn time for the Jug Doom. That's more than enough to get Dream Assault up and center to get that damage off. And it's that point in the game where, again, the matchup of Jug PL just doesn't feel great for Jug. Your control from Motivate.Trust is just not amounted to much, despite no defensive item in Dream Assault. Just able to get juking a lot. And they're forced to jump stuff like FBZ's Mars. They can't really jump onto Mikado. Their control is just not instantaneous enough for these slippery heroes, and it really is showing now with these engagements. Our Puck finishing up the Deso first before going for the Ags, and that's going to be big. It will help them get the high ground push, amps up the right-click damage that comes through from our Puck as well in a big way. Puck's right-click is deceptively high. It's super strong, and you know, you're just going to have to watch for more now. Motivate.Trust, they are smoked up, but it's scanned out.
It is. Very unfortunate stuff, but no, Masaros, he's still got a target. He will get Hyde. Not exactly the biggest target in the world, but they get something. That could allow Motivate to start setting up for the Roshan. It's still going to be tough, though. You've got a buyback on Hyde. Everyone else from Boom is pretty safe and healthy. And in the meantime, like Dreamer Cell, while he does get stuck on a cliff, he does have the Heart of Tarrasque on the way.
Yeah, it's really tanky now. 3.7k HP. That's on int treads as well. on Strentrans, that's obviously going to be way higher. So just looking and trying to melt the illusions from Radiant Spirit isn't going to be enough to help you identify at this point with all that strength on. Motivate.Trust becoming a bit hard to prioritize your targets now. They do manage to reel back in some of that lead. It's less than 1k going the way of Boom. So Motivate.Trust can make stuff happen. They do smoke up once more. No ward to spot that out. They did get the D ward. No scan. Might be able to catch someone here.
That they may.
Double damage.
EG just waiting for the right moment. Boom, they're going to break the smoke and run in, but neither team wants to initiate. But FBZ, he's in. He's got the arena down. Q is going to be saved by Leonak. They roll back in. They want the Mars dead first. It seems as Fearless will continue the chase over. And FBZ, Cookie, not going to save. He does get the Yules up, still alive, just barely, but eventually will fall. They get anyone else though. Makoto, a nice dream coil, but the false promise going to save Fearless. Leonak, he's going to buy back. Makoto just backing off, checking out the Roshan, making sure nothing sneaky's going on. And Q is going to drop as well. He'll buy back onto Jackie. Horus punches there, the jump, they get the spear off, but the Fate's Edict again saving the day. Doom, Masaros, he cannot get it off onto Makoto. He still gets out of there. The Makoto is still getting kills. A triple kill out. Now Masaros is gone, and Fearless is trapped below the staircase. He is set to fall and does. Jackie's the last one there. He's going to try and TP out and does, but Q, he's going to die back, and Makoto gets an Ultra. And that whole team fight, Masaros, he was trying to find the Doom onto Makoto, but he just could not get it. And there you go, GG.
Yeah, I can't fault Motivate. I think they hit some pretty good timings. They were doing way better early game than you'd expect. They kind of fixed that laning issue that we were seeing for them from their matchups simply. But their draft was just not the kind of draft to deal with Puck and PL. Especially once that farm is coming in for Dreamcell. He just kind of overtook all of that spam, the lower cooldown on his Doppel, the Spirit Lance always flying around, burning true mana. Jug is just not the answer to a PL. It really isn't. And they picked it fairly early on. A great last pick from Boom with a PL answer. Motivate.Trust will have to go back to the drawing board, sort that out, but Boom. They hang in here in the upper bracket. They've still got the opportunity to move into the grand finals for themselves if they can pull off that same performance from Game 2. Motivate.Trust might have to go through the long way around in the lower bracket.
That they may, John. Game number 3 should be very interesting between these two teams, and let's see if either one can pull it off to get through to that grand final spot. For now, it is MLPDotA and johnxfire, and of course, we are going to head to a very short break, but right after that break, we'll be back with Game 3's draft.